Is it hard for you to move your attention to different areas of the body, or is that okay? Can you really feel the, different parts of the body? This technique called a body scanning, and because of we meditate in short periods, otherwise that there'll be a longer scanning, and it takes like an hour to completely scan the whole thing. So I shorten them a little bit. Before I say anything, is there any kind of agenda that you would like to talk about? Well, welcome back again. This is the 7th week, and I haven't met you too, I guess. Namaste. Last week, there was a Dharma lady friend came in, and we have a lengthy talk, and she inquired about enlightenment, and we engaged the dialogue. She requested me to speak about enlightenment today. It's honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm really scared to talk about that. It's such a vast subject beyond mundane comprehension. But I decided to share about that anyway. Before I go into that, I would like to state that this is my perception, my concept about enlightenment, because I'm not an enlightened being. Absolutely not. So you can rest assured that you're not listening to an enlightened being at all. And I came across the Aristotle, the Greek philosophers, years back, before we were born. And he has a very famous quote that there is an unmoved mover. And I've read some of commentaries from the philosophers and scientists about that quote. But when I read that, I immediately classified that there are three agendas in that unmoved mover. The first one is the unmoved. The second one is the mover. And then the third one is the combination of unmoved mover. Because what I saw is that I tried to incorporate this thing with the lady friends that request the talk of enlightenment. So I came up with the sharing today, the enlightenment and impermanence. Remember that enlightenment state of being you cannot transcribe, you cannot describe, you cannot endow, you cannot convey with the ordinary language or communication. It's way beyond of everything. But we can get a glimpse of it by going to a very small step from impermanence to the huge leap of enlightenment. Let's see how it goes, okay? Well, I state again that I'm not an enlightened being. It's just my idea, just my concept, just my perception about that. From the unimaginable thing out there, but from a black hole which swallows the super galaxies. In a galaxy contains so many stars. In a stars contains so many planets. Our planets has been about 4.5 billion years old. And this is nothing compared to the sun. The sun is nothing compared to the galaxy. And the galaxy is nothing compared to the black hole. One edge of a galaxy, if you travel one edge of the galaxy to the other edge of the galaxy, it takes about 100,000 light years. And each second, the light year travels 180,000 miles per second. So you just multiply that and you see that how old the galaxy and then how old the black hole is. Unimaginable. And then we go down to ourselves. You see that the particles and then the subatomics. And then in that subatomic, the scientific term for the speed of the subatomic is that the yocto and zepto. I don't know if you're familiar with that, which is like a billion, trillions split of the seconds for it to move. So from a huge content out there, a supernova, to a tiny speck of yocto and zepto speed of the atomic particles that moves. Everything is subject to be impermanent. As of right now, since last week, how many states of mental factors have you experienced? Yeah. From love to hate, from joy to sorrow, from greed to generosity. There are so many things that happens. You experience, they come and go, come and go, come and go. So everything is impermanent. But if you pay attention close enough, let's say that between the sad and the happiness, when sadness comes, you know. When happiness comes, you know. When both of that are gone, you know, because of the space in between them. The space in between them. The people say emptiness. When it's empty, it's not that you're ignorant, you don't know. No, you know when it's empty. And when there is absence of all the mental factors, right there is enlightenment. Very down to earth. That enlightenment is the absence of your mental defilements. That's all. Very, very simple. We monks putting on the yellow robe like this one dreamed about enlightenment. But there are often misconceptions about enlightenment is that it's something that beyond our imaginations, beyond our mundane life, that there has to be some extraordinary state of being for that. But no, it's not. Very simple. The absence of mental defilements, that's enlightenment. Let's say that you don't have a house payment, you don't have a car payment, your health absolutely okay, you don't have anything to worry about. It's kind of similarity because you don't have anything to worry, you don't have to think of anything. When you don't think, when you don't have any kind of mental defilement, then you're in state of bliss. Nothing bothers you. It's just all empty. And that's enlightenment. Kind of. Because I just try to use that similes to refer to the condition of enlightenment. So, as we practice concentration earlier, you can see that you put all of your mental hindrances down, and then you focus on your object. While you focus on your objects, there are no mental defilements which come in at all. So right there is a state of some sort of enlightenment too. It's not complete. Yes, of course. But when there are no defilements, then that's what counts. And of course that we all here have experienced a glimpse of enlightenment every day. It's so short, but you don't notice it because we don't pay attention, we don't have a sharp, a keen awareness to detect it. But actually it's happening. But it's so short that we can recognize it, that's all. Through the practice, that moment will prolong a little bit, until it become actually a minute, or 10 minutes, or an hour. Then you can recognize it. It's rather simple. Don't have to go anywhere. It's in you. Yes. And we experienced momentarily of enlightenment is not enough, because of the defilements are full of foolish things that embedded within your consciousness. So you have to uproot it. By uproot it is that you have to have a wisdom of impermanence. Only impermanence can unhook you from the defilements. So we have to work on the impermanence. Sometimes, well, it's not sometimes, all the things that I have shared with you earlier today, when you sit down, all of that are impermanence. From the heartbeat, from the sensation. I attended a 10-day intensive retreat with Goenka style. That for the first 3 days, we focus on the nostril area. And then at first, it was kind of hard because of we don't get used to putting the mind into one space, and our mind is not sharp enough to detect what is going on. So at first, it was a larger area, but as it went on, the mind gets used to it, then it goes to a single small spot in the nostril area, and in that single spot, there were so many things happening, from the heat, from the cold, from the prickling, from the numbness, from everything you can find, and then they come go, little, such a thing like that. We have to detect that, okay? So everything is impermanent, but you have to work that to go into your bones, your mirrors, that until it becomes a natural, innate within you. Just like that when we were born, a child look at an apple, it doesn't know what it is, but until it was taught this is an apple, then the memory or the perception, how the way it works, it goes deep into your consciousness. And then the next time when you hold an apple, there's no need to say this is an apple anymore. You automatically know without saying, without noting that. And this is the way that we need to learn how to put impermanence into everything. And the way I practice is that sometimes I really dedicate myself. When I breathe, there is a silent notion of impermanence. When I walk, there is a silent notion of impermanence. Sometimes you say it, sometimes you don't say it, but you know, in conjunction of breathing, in conjunction of walking, there's an impermanence. Because of its time, it becomes a natural, innate, that automatically when you walk, when you breathe, it's impermanent. Sometimes you might raise a question that this is so depressing, everything is impermanent. How are you going to live with that? No. Remember that the wisdom of impermanence is not for you to disengage life. You have to understand intellectually that the wisdom of impermanence is not like coping with or overcome with or suppressing with, but once you understand that, you live a fuller life. You engage more in the society as a husband, a wife, a parent, a child, whatever position you are in the society, you engage completely because of life is so ephemeral. So why not be happy? Instead of being sad, being anger. So, in a way, impermanence is so important in the practice because first, it can uproot all your defilements. Second, you live a fuller life. Be more happy. It's not for the depressing side. It's like that. And so enlightenment and impermanence are coexist. You say that I don't want suffering, I don't want impermanence, I just want enlightenment. No, it's not. It's not going to be that way. Impermanence is the path. The path is enlightenment. And enlightenment contains impermanence. So they all conjoin. And I hope that this nonsense won't get you bored. Of course, that I try anyway. And I'm so perfect for my imperfection, so that's why I'm not afraid. That's what it is, folks. Please have any input so we can share together. Yes.
Well, I understand about impermanence.
Yes.
So like the flowers and our furniture, I mean, everything.
Yes.
But I have a concern about a child and their behavior. 6 years old, and so he seems to be I don't know how to describe it, but just really
Hyperactive.
Hyperactive, yeah, which, we can deal with that because that's impermanent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But is he going to grow out of his anger and hostility? It seems like it's growing and getting more hostile. And so how impermanent is that? Is that going to grow and not be impermanent and grow into like adulthood and be that way? So that doesn't feel impermanent to me when I'm dealing with that child.
Great story. I used to live with a friend, great friend. He has a kid, and the boy is so emotional. Just one way to put it, very much the same as the situation that you described. And I thought that he never get out of that because of he was so hyper, he was so emotional. And you look around his house, there are holes on the walls. He made that. He punched the wall that made hole on that one. Yes. And when he plays game, every time he lost, he cried. And then he threw things around. Such a thing like that. But he grew up, become a so sweet boy. So, I don't know which way that it's gonna go for that child. It could go worse, it could go in a better way. But after all, in every situation, there'll be a peak. And when it goes to the peak, where does it go? It has to go down. It cannot stay there forever. So we hope for a better. And of course that we as a supervisors, adult supervisors, such a thing like that, we have to deal with it, especially that I don't have a family of my own. But I realized long ago that being parents, how to treat, how to deal with a child is very artistic, extremely artistic. It's not easy. It's not easy at all, not a bit. And however we can deal with it, we try to learn the best. As we make mistakes, we learn from that mistake. My friend that who has that kid, he has so great compassion toward not only to that child, but to everything. That even that he treats non-conscious being such as grass, such a thing like that. Well, you have to live with him in order to see that how he conduct his life. We are unmindfully when we walk, and we walk on grass, such a thing like that's easily a piece of cake. But no, he tried to steer away from that. Until he told me that I realized that this is how he acted. So he treated the child with full of love, really full of love. And maybe because of that, it changed the child's behavior. I don't know. I have a niece, she's 17. Terrible. I'm not afraid to say it in front of the camera. No. If I say one, she's gonna snap back 10. And I hope for better. It will change. And of course, it will change no matter what. The law of impermanence applies to everything. So we're not afraid of that. Yes. In terms of being a supervisor, being a parent of that child, this is I always tell my brothers and sisters, do your best with 100% of your best. There's no more tougher than that. And then let the nature take its own course. Why? You have done your best. Now, it's up to the karma of that child. Don't blame yourself because you have done your best. There's no more that you can do. Then let the nature take its own course, which is the karma. It will turn out the way it's supposed to be. And if it turned out good, you're happy. And if it turned out bad, don't blame yourself. Be compassionate with yourself because you have done your best already. That's what I advise my brothers and sisters. They all have kids. Yes. And we always hope for the best.
You were just talking about doing your best, trying your best. And I realize that's important, but I have a problem with saying, oh, this isn't my best, because I don't know what my best is.
You don't know where the limit.
So it's hard sometimes to find that compassion and forgiveness just in daily life, because you think, well, that was not whatever. So how do you get to that point? I guess it's your big ego. My big ego is like saying, well, you're not doing well enough, but so if I cut down my ego, then I'm not gonna, but that's just a concept.
Right.
You're my best.
Right. Let's see that this is a simile. I have $10. I gave that $10 away. I have nothing left. Then that's my best.
Okay.
See, sometimes that's you have to really check yourself. Be really honest. Be honest is the best policy. Check yourself that is there a space? Is there a corner that I haven't touched yet? So just keep looking for the possibility, and then when there is no more possibility, then that is your best. And because of the nature of the mind, the nature of the self-ego, the I, the me, maybe $10 I give you $9, that is my best, but I keep $1 back. Well, that's not the best yet. I still hold on to $1. It's not. If I have 10, I give out 10. That's the best. So just really check on it, and remember that nothing's wrong with being imperfection. You failed this time, you have a chance to redeem that failure again. So keep doing it until that you perfect yourself of what you do. So today the concept saying that this is the best I can do, but remember, because of the impermanence, maybe tomorrow or next week, when you look back and say, oh, well, actually I haven't done enough, it will be in that sense. Yes. So and again, the best is not what you are trying to force yourself. Remember this way. The best is that upon your ability of doing it. It's not that trying to pour out everything, and then later on you regret. Yeah, because of not once, not twice, but many times when I heard my friend, when I heard my master's friend who needs a kidney transplant. My very first thought is that I'm going to give my kidneys to those who need it. But then later on I chickened out. So it depends. It depends that you have to really compassionate to yourself that this is my best. And my best is that I'm not good enough for my very best yet. So I hold on to that level. Maybe later on, but not right now. And that is the very wise for yourself. That okay, because I've seen a lot of people that even that my friend that who was so interested, who was so deeply in practice, and then gave everything away, and then the thing didn't turn out the way he expected. He was so regret because we gave everything away. So really check back, really look back, and be comfortable with your best. Remember, be comfortable with your best. That I'm not saying that so you can hold back your ego, but it's the way how it lives. When you have a small boat, you only carry that much of people. Don't carry more than that. The boat's gonna sink. When you have a bigger boat, then you can carry more people. Yes. Yes, please.
I had a question about, you taught a few weeks ago about Theravada and Mahayana and the differences. Would it be accurate to say that in Theravada, the emphasis is on how Buddha became enlightened, and then the emphasis in Mahayana is, what happened after Buddha reached enlightenment, more about what he did afterwards? Is that accurate to say it that way?
The Mahayana carry on the idea of bodhisattva, that you save all beings before you reach the final stage. In Theravada, there's no need for that, because of when the fruit is ripened, it's automatically fall down. Nothing hold on. And in Mahayana, that you linger on the idea of saving all beings before you become complete enlightened. So there are two different, but when I look back is that the idea of bodhisattva is merely just to practice non-stop, because of I see that when I was 13, the population was only 4 billions, and now it's more than 7 billions. So there are more beings. Yes. So how can we carry on to save all beings? Plus, that is the visible beings, and how many invisible beings not viruses, materials, we don't see that. Are we gonna keep doing that? To me, it's just another kind of practice that keeps you go on, that you won't stop. And I've seen a lot of unnice comments about Theravada is that they're so selfish that they reach enlightenment and then they go, they don't care for saving any more beings. I'm sorry. Just try to practice yourself, to get yourself into the stream enter, which is the first stage of enlightenment. That was hard enough. It takes a lifetime. It takes so many lifetimes to get to that level. It's not that easy. Yes. So, it will turn when the time is right. Then you get enlightened, and then you will go on to be whatever it is. You don't have to. The vow of the Bodhisattva is that to save all beings. Yes, and it's okay that you can do that. You can have that kind of vow, and you can practice. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes. Each tradition will have its own perspective about enlightenment and about the way to practice and how to practice. To me, I see that in Theravada there is Mahayana ideas in it. In Mahayana, I see Theravada ideas in it. So it's just that your concepts, your differentiation that makes it different. Otherwise, let it be, let it be, let it be. Be happy. So to me, there's no difference. Maybe because I'm a freelance. Maybe I have an open-minded. Something like that. It doesn't matter. As long as it takes you to a better shore, then that counts. Right? Oh, thank you. Do we have any ideas, sharings? Well, again, that I'm so happy to share, and I so thank you for coming here. You have a better choice going somewhere else to entertain yourself instead of being entertained sometimes I call it a nonsensical idea. But as long as it works, and it's okay. May this fruitful practice become the cause for happiness in future. We, the disciples, and all beings attain the perfect enlightenment in future. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. That's all, folks.